Good evening, and welcome to our special session this evening. We are glad that you could join us. My name is Shahiwa Jarrett Gellin, and I'm the founder and president of the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce. And I want to welcome you to our special QuickBooks tip session. At the Chamber, we want to make sure that we're providing you with programming that you can utilize, that's useful for you as you grow your small business. And I have to say, as I think back over the last, I guess, couple of years, there was a lot of talk about small businesses not being prepared financially, not having their financial statements in order. And so we don't just want to hear about and understand the problems here at the Chamber. We want to be able to provide a solution. So we are extremely happy to have a special guest with us here tonight that will provide QuickBooks tips for the small business owner. I tell you, we are more than happy to share our members with you because they have experience, they have the expertise. And this particular member is actually a QuickBooks expert, and she will explain what that is and what that means, and then she'll get right into her QuickBooks tips. But without further ado, I want to introduce and welcome Jennyfer Metelus to the show. Welcome, Jennyfer.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Shahiwa. My name is Jennyfer Metelus. As Shahiwa says, I am a QuickBooks Pro advisor. I have been working with QuickBooks for the last 10 years. I am proficient in both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online, but I do have my favorite, which is QuickBooks Online.
Gotcha.
But I am proficient in both sides. But of course, as technology continues to advance, we continue to move our clients towards QuickBooks Online because it is cloud-based. It allows our clients to access their books from anywhere,
Nice.
as opposed to just being, strictly to desktop where it limits you to just being on one computer. QuickBooks Online has a lot of various features, and tonight I want to show you what are some of those advantages. As small business owners, you have the ability to use those features, whether it be to run your payroll, whether it be to run your own financial statements. You have the ability to kind of
Now, Jennyfer, before we get into that, I know you are passionate about what you do, but
mhm.
I mean, we want to know a little bit about you, darling. I mean, you have, created a wonderful growing business for yourself. And as you just shared with everyone, I mean, you've been extremely proficient with QuickBooks and have been using it for the last 10 years. So just tell us a little bit about your business, and then I promise you will get to speak about your passion and jump right in. Because I also know, besides being passionate about QuickBooks, you're passionate about helping our small businesses. But first, let's just tell us a little bit about your company, the name of your company, and what you do.
All right. So, the name of my company is Beyond Tax and Accounting, Inc., Incorporated. We service small business owners as well as individuals. We service individuals, taxes, bookkeeping services, accounting services, payroll services. We also help small business owners in ramping up their small businesses, whether it is to get started, setting up your corporation or LLCs. We can help you from anywhere from getting started on QuickBooks, anywhere from consulting services. What should I be doing? How should I be setting up my business? What do I need to do? How many bank accounts should I have?
Yeah.
Can help you from any of those services down to making sure you are in compliance with the IRS, making sure that you are functional, whether it is to buy a house, whether it is to get funding, which is a big portion. As Shahiwa mentioned, a lot of companies weren't able to take advantages of some of the resources that are available because they didn't have certain things in place to take advantage of some of those resources. So we provide a lot of those services, even down to retirement plans, helping our small business owners set up themselves. So even though you're a small business owner,
Yeah.
making sure you have certain things in place for yourself retirement plans, IRAs, which also gives you some tax advantages as well. We can help you in those departments as well.
That's critical. Look at this laundry list, and you looking so young, girl. Where'd you learn all this stuff? So, I just before I kind of turn it over to you. I do want to mention this that, you joined the chamber and, we were able to get a grant. And I wanted to make sure that we utilize the grant to help businesses. Once again, like I said at the top, people complain about financial statements, etc. Yeah, well, we're a chamber. Let's do something about that. And we not only installed QuickBooks, but then had you do some one-on-one consulting with some of our chamber members. And for those of you who didn't know about it, it was also a grant that non-chamber members could take advantage of. And so we did have a couple non-chamber members participate. And I got rave reviews, Jennifer. They were like, oh, she's great. I got to ask all my questions. So you all really have someone who knows what they're doing, has worked with not only her clients, but our members. And I personally got the reviews. So Jennifer definitely knows what she's talking about. So I'm going to let you jump into your QuickBooks tips. And then when I come back and hop back on, I do want you to give us a little story. If you can think of where you were extremely proud, like one of your proudest moments with one of your clients and how you were able to help them. But we'll go into your presentation. I know you're excited. You were ready to jump right into it. I know you're passionate about helping our small businesses. And that's one of the reasons why I love you. I love that passion. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jennifer. Go ahead.
All right, guys. So I'm going to jump in here into QuickBooks. So what I want to share to you, as I mentioned to you guys, QuickBooks has so many different features that you guys can utilize. I will try to keep it as basic as possible, but for any of you guys who are interested in want to go into depth, Shahila will share my contact information. But I just kind of want to give you guys some of the surface level things of what QuickBooks can do and how it can scale your business and make life easy for you. Long gone are the days where you have to go through bank statements to figure out how much money you made, how much money you spent on expenses. Yeah, paper and pencil is out the door. So first things first, in QuickBooks, you have the ability to link your bank account. Whether you have one bank account or 10 bank accounts, one credit card or 3 credit cards, whatever it may be, you have the ability to link it right here in QuickBooks. Okay, so in QuickBooks, we have something called the banking tab. This is where you link your credit cards, whether it be a line of credit, whether it be bank accounts, savings accounts, business savings accounts. Yes, those are assets in the business. You link those right in here. Whether it's you, your bookkeeper, your accountant, that's actually going through these accounts on a monthly basis, whoever it is, those need to be in the system so that they can do what we call charting every month or weekly, however they're doing it. Okay. Now, with that being said, you have the ability for in the banking tab, that's where QuickBooks and your bank, whoever the bank may be, that's where QuickBooks and the bank speak to each other to pull all of the transactions, income and expenses. Okay, that's where QuickBooks speaks to your bank to pull all the transactions so that they can be what we call charted or also known as categorized. Okay, now you're like, well, how does that feature work? Well, great question. We go to this tab right here called Link Account, right? When you first establish your QuickBooks account, QuickBooks can speak to many of the most popular banks, okay? You even have the ability to manually upload your statements if for whatever reason there's a technical issue. But some of the most popular banks are right here in the system. Even if you don't see the logo here, you can actually type it in. For example, TD Bank is not there. I can just type in TD Bank and it'll show up here. Let's see, BB&T. That's not there. I think BB&T is now Truist. So let's type that in. So SunTrust, now Truist, is right there. Same thing. Okay. You would simply click on the link. It's going to ask you to log it to put in your banking credentials for the actual bank, and you will select the bank accounts that you want to link. You never link your personal bank accounts. If you have personal bank accounts with that bank that your business bank accounts are with, you never link your personal, only your business bank accounts. Sometimes people think that your personal is supposed to go in there, but it does not. Now, once that happens, all your transactions will come over. So we'll look at these, right? Now, once you set up your QuickBooks account, QuickBooks is going to ask you what industry is your business in. And based on what industry you tell QuickBooks your business is in, it's going to default certain categories in there. Okay. And based on the type of business you have, it's going to default certain categories. That doesn't mean you're restricted to those categories. Okay. You can always modify whatever categories you need to based on your type of business. Okay. And that can be done at any point in time. Those categories is what we call chart of accounts in QuickBooks, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Sales, okay, that's the next tab. Sales is how whether you choose to track your sales in QuickBooks, which you have that feature, and you can actually collect payments in QuickBooks, which is a feature that I use, that I most love because I like to simplify things for my clients. You can actually send invoices out right here to your clients. So you can create an invoice, and the invoice can actually have your logo. You can put the customer, you can actually have your customer list. If you have an existing customer list, you can actually upload it right here into QuickBooks, the customer email, or you can establish a new one. You can actually create all the services that you provide right here in QuickBooks, and you can put the amount and actually send the client the invoice. As stated, QuickBooks has the ability for you to actually allow the client to pay the invoice right there when they receive it. Now, of course, that's an additional feature because now you're talking a merchant account, okay? Or you can just send the invoice and they can pay you via Cash App, Zelle, however you choose to accept your method of payment. Again, I choose to simplify the process. I like my clients to pay right through the invoice, so I have a merchant's account set up right with QuickBooks. So that's the sales tab. You have the ability to send, for those of you who have services where you send out estimates, quotes, proposals, however you want to call them, you have that feature in QuickBooks as well. All of these features I'm showing you guys are available in your subscription. So if you guys have QuickBooks right now and you're not utilizing these features, you're doing yourself an injustice because you're already paying for it. Okay. Cash flow. Okay. If you want to know how your cash flow is trending, which is an important feature, you want to know, okay, do we have enough cash to do things? How is our cash flow? Okay. If you are a product-driven business, cash flow is important, okay, because you need to know how much money you have to buy inventory, to buy product, more so than a service-based business. Expenses, another important feature. If you're someone that, again, whether you're service-based or you're product-based business, you're going to have vendors that you have to pay. Another great feature, you can actually pay your vendors right through QuickBooks, guys. I pay my landlord right through QuickBooks. And the beauty about it is it's actually scheduled every month. QuickBooks sends me a reminder that says, hey, you have a bill coming up. And it reminds me that I have to pay my office rent every month. And I just click a button. It's already scheduled and it's already set up. I literally go in and click a button that says, send payment to the landlord. Great feature. It's already set up. You can do the same thing with your FP&L bill, whatever other office bills that you may have. If you have vendors, that you have to pay on a monthly basis, or however often you pay your vendors. You can schedule it, okay? And QuickBooks will send you a reminder to say, hey, you got a bill coming up. And you click in the click of a button, you can send that payment right to that vendor. This keeps track of all your expenses. You don't need to worry about what category that goes in. QuickBooks will automatically categorize it for you once you set that vendor up right into QuickBooks. If you have employees or contractors, 1099, subcontractor, independent contractors, again, payroll, you can handle all in QuickBooks. Now, payroll is another feature that's additional. It's not part of your regular subscription. You do have to pay for an additional payroll subscription if you run your payroll service through QuickBooks. But the beauty about it is you keep everything in one central location. I run my payroll right through QuickBooks. Everything is in one central location. You can even track time, okay? For those of you who have employees, you can track time, your employee times in QuickBooks as well. That's not an additional feature, that's included. Reports, my favorite part, okay? Reports. This should be every business favorite part. This is how you see how your business is trending. Whether you want to look at it on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, annual basis, hopefully you're looking at it on a monthly basis, okay? If you want to see how your business is trending, profit and loss and balance sheet should be your two favorite reports to look at. Your profit and loss. So let's take a look at this one. So this is a client from last year, okay? We're looking at the 2021 profit and loss to see the profit and loss. For those of you who are not familiar with this statement, it's okay if you're not. So let me help you understand what this statement is. A profit and loss statement helps you understand the financial stability of your company, okay? Get familiar with that. It helps you understand whether your business is profitable or whether it's not profitable, okay? As I stated, you should be looking at this report on a monthly basis, okay? Some people like to mistake in this report with saying, well, this bottom line number where it says net income, I don't have that much money in the bank. That does not mean that's how much money you have in the bank. That means that's how much profit your business has generated throughout the year, okay? But this helps you identify where your money is going, okay? As a business owner, you should be understanding how much money you are spending, okay, on accounting, advertising, insurance, payroll, so that if changes need to be made, if you need to restructure your company, if you need to make adjustments, the only way you're going to know that is by understanding your financials. Not looking at your bank statement every month and determining that by saying, okay, the account is in green, we all right. The account is in red, it's negative, we're not doing all right. That is not a good way to identify whether your company is doing good or bad. Okay? So consider your profit and loss, your financial report card, to help you identify where your money is going. Okay? The other report is what we call your balance sheet. The balance sheet helps you understand your assets, your liabilities. Give me 1 second, moving a little slow. So your assets is all of your bank accounts, and whether it's checking or savings. Your assets, everything that the company owns, from furniture to equipment, okay? Your liabilities, whether it be a loan, whether it be credit cards, lines of credit, your equity, owner's investment, retained earnings. Excuse me. That's what your balance sheet will show. Okay. Your assets should always equal your liabilities and your equity on your balance sheet. Now, for most business owners, this is not so much of a report that most business owners are familiar with. More so, the most important thing that you want to look at, want to know as a business owner, though, is you want to make sure your assets are listed on your balance sheet. Why? These are the two reports that if you ever go and try to get a loan from a bank, those two reports, aside from bank statements, is what a banker is going to ask you. We need your profit and loss, and we need a balance sheet. This is how they determine how profitable is your business, whether or not they're even going to lend your company money. Okay, those are two reports that they're going to ask for: profit and loss and balance sheet. You don't have those, no bank is going to even think about giving your bank any money. I mean, your company any money, excuse me. You always want to make sure your assets are listed on your balance sheet. Everything that your company owns, from computers to furniture to equipment, those are very important. If any loan, any funding that you try to get, they may ask for collateral. Collateral being your assets from your business. That's important. Um, Liabilities. A lot of times people think, oh, I have too much debt already. They might not look at me. Having some type of debt is not always a bad thing, because they want to see, okay, someone else has already lent you money. That's not always a bad thing. Okay. It just depends on the bank. So having some type of debt, or having some type of line of credit already, or some type of liability outstanding already, in good standing, that is not a total bad thing. So again, balance sheet is not something that most business owners work with, but accountants and bankers, a lot of financial institutions work with these reports, because they want to understand the financial stability of the company. And then taxes. So in this section, if you are a product-based company, you have the ability to pay sales tax through QuickBooks. Okay. If you have independent contractors, you have the ability to file your 1099s as well through QuickBooks. Okay. If you run payroll through QuickBooks, they will automatically send you a reminder at the end of the year to submit these filings. But you do have those capabilities within QuickBooks as well. Mileage. If you are someone who drives to clients on a regular basis, you have the ability to track your mileage, which is important. And lastly is chart of accounts. Remember, I told you we would look at this. Chart of accounts is everything, every category for your business. You may not necessarily use every single chart of account that's defaulted in QuickBooks. Okay. We tailor the chart of accounts based on the company. I'm pretty detailed. And I'll run back to one of these reports. I'm very detailed with my clients' chart of accounts, because I like for them to see um, things, exactly where their dollars are going. For example, utilities, instead of jumbling everything into utilities, I actually break out the utilities: water, electricity, phone, and internet. So my clients can actually have a clear picture of where they're spending their money for utilities. Now, some clients don't want it that detailed, but I try to give the clients a clear picture. It just depends on the client. I'm a little more detailed, because I want my clients to have a clear picture exactly of where their dollars. Even insurances, instead of jumbling everything in one in one category as general as insurances, I actually break out the insurances so they know whether it's general liability, auto insurance, health insurance. We actually break out the type of insurances so the client can actually understand how much money is being spent on each type of insurance. Um, some other things that we're more detailed about, legal and professional fees. That's one category. We actually break out what those services are: accounting, legal fees, consulting fees. We actually break those out so the client can actually really see realistically how much money is being spent on each type of service. Um, and that's pretty much it. As I stated, this is more of a surface level overview of what QuickBooks can do for you. If you are already paying for QuickBooks, I strongly encourage you to get the best to get the make the best out of it, because it does a lot. Um, and if you're interested in learning what more it can do for you, I'll be more than happy to schedule time with you guys. But please, please, please try to make the best out of it, because it does a lot for you, and it can do a lot for you. And it can definitely streamline some things for you. Um, and I'll open it up to any questions.
Hey, Jennifer. Well, I kind of had a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you meet with, clients who may be coming in for the first time and talking to you about their finances within their company, what are their typical questions regarding, their financial statements, or when you start saying, "Hey, here's this product, QuickBooks. Are you using it?" What are their typical questions that you hear?
So most of the time, um, for the most part, most people have had QuickBooks. If I've had a client who did not have QuickBooks,
Hmm.
um, we obviously had to put them on QuickBooks. Um, and explain to them what the importance of it was, and how it was going to help them. And
Hmm.
most of the time, their questions were, um, so I'll give you an example. We've been faced with a lot of clients who, I need to refinance, I'm looking to buy a home, and they're asking me for all of these documents, right?
Okay.
And a lot of them have been small business owners. Well, we know the first things first is that they're going to ask you for profit and loss. They're going to ask you for 2 years of tax returns. They're going to ask you for all this. Do you have any of it? And the question is usually no.
Mm.
So we have to take it back to basics. Um, and a lot of times what happens is, because let's be honest, most people, they want to buy a home, but they also don't want to pay Uncle Sam thousands and thousands of
Right.
dollars, right?
Right.
So we have to kind of have a tough conversation. It's like, you can't do both. You have to show income. So what's important to you at this point? Is it
Yeah.
important to you buy this home, or is it important to you to run from paying IRS?
Right.
So some of those questions are, well, what do I do? Well, then we have to kind of put the onus back on the client and explain to them no bank is going to approve you with a loss.
Right.
Um,
Right.
So some of those questions have been, we you know we have to help organize the client. Um, People don't understand the importance of, some, not all, don't understand your business account is your business account. It's not your personal account. Um, and we have to take things back to basics, and explain to clients that even though you are the business owner, we try to educate clients as much as possible on running payroll for themselves.
Yeah.
And I try to sit the client down and say, okay, let's take a look at what your personal expenses look at. At the very least, we try to run payroll to cover their personal expenses
Right. Makes sense.
if we can.
Right.
Because sometimes it's not, their business is not generating enough to cover their personal expenses.
Right.
um, and we have to kind of scale it back, because that has happened. Sometimes they're able to cover their personal expenses. A big part of what we do is trying to educate the client on treating their business almost like they're working for someone else, by running payroll, like giving yourself a W-2 at the end of the year, using your business, treating it as if like being very disciplined. I tell my clients when I go to the store, prime example, if I go to the store, I'll use Walmart as an example. There are times where I have to go to Walmart for my house and my office, and I separate my transactions. And my
Mhm.
clients are looking at me like, "What?"
Oh,
And I said,
absolutely.
I have to buy stuff for my office and I have to buy stuff for my house. My stuff for my house, I buy my debit card, my personal card, and my things for my office, I buy with my business card. They're two separate transactions. They're
Right.
not one. And I said I cannot educate clients on trying to do that, and if I don't follow the same thing, it's two separate transactions.
Right, right. And that's important because I think this point that you're bringing up was critical, once again, trying to learn some lessons and make sure people get it, especially coming out of the pandemic when you didn't separate the two, right? And you didn't really have any record of what you were paying yourself. It became difficult to say, yes, I need the PPP. This is not, kind of like a hobby here. I do have a business that's been paying me. And it's kind of like, well, how do you evidence that? And, running payroll and doing things like that um, allows you to have that evidence, or having the two separate transactions, like you were saying, to say, no, I do have these business expenses and here they're documented, instead of wrapping it into your personal your expenses. That's critical. So are the questions that people who have um, never had QuickBooks different from the ones that have it? I would assume that the ones that have it come in with a little bit more detailed or pointed questions about the product to ensure that they're utilizing it right, or am I assuming
Yeah,
wrong?
yes. The ones who've never had QuickBooks obviously have been pretty much running it blindly. Like, I have
Mhm.
bank statements. We get calls
Okay.
like, you know, I need to file my taxes for the past 2, 3 years, right?
Right.
And the first thing we have is like, okay, do you have the accounting records for them? They're like,
Hmm.
no, but I have the bank statements. Okay.
Okay.
So how have you been tracking your income and expenses?
Yeah.
They haven't been tracking it, and they
Right.
run it on basically red and green every month. Like if the account is in green, I'm doing okay. If the account is in red, we're not doing good.
Gotcha.
And typically, what happens is, unfortunately, um, clients don't see the importance of some, not all. Some clients don't see the clients that have been running it blindly like that don't see the importance of getting it right until it's time to do something important like
Hmm.
getting funding or buying a house or trying to get lines of credit. Now
Right.
they're faced with having to do it the right way. Um, so now they're like, okay, how do I make it right? Um, and even then, it's a struggle because they're like, well, what do I do? How do I show income, or
Right.
having to differentiate what's personal and what's not personal. Um, and then one of the biggest struggles is when you have to go back so many years, how do you really remember everything?
You don't. Just why you gotta have that record keeping. Wow. No, I
Correct.
thank you, Jennifer, for this because I think too, for those watching that maybe thinking of starting a business, or that have a business that may not have QuickBooks at this time, or any type of accounting software, this kind of review that you did today will help them understand why it is so important, and understand some of the features that are available, and why it's critical to your a business. Before we close, I wanted you to share, if you could, like a special moment or one of your proudest moments of working with a client that maybe came in and was a mess. And I've heard stories, coming in with shoe boxes. I've kind of heard heard it all. But just share with us a proud moment where you were able to work with, a small business and really help them get on track, and how that made you feel.
Ah, That's easy. All
Okay.
right. So I deal with a lot of out of state clients.
Okay.
So this particular client is not even in Florida. She came to me by referral. In fact, all of my out of state clients are all referrals. I have never met them ever in my life, and there's a lot of them.
Wow.
Um, and this particular client, we met three, 2 years ago during the pandemic.
Mm.
And um, I'm not gonna tell you no lie. We were on the phone. She's in Arizona.
Okay.
So there's a 3 hour difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
We there were times we were on the phone at 1 a.m. my time, 2 a.m. my time, getting it done. Yeah.
Wow.
And let's just say I turned around 12 months of bookkeeping within 30 days. Um,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. It wasn't easy. We were on the phone. It got to the point where her family was like, let me guess, you're on the phone with Jennifer again?
Exactly. Yeah.
And we turned around 12 months of accounting in 30 days, but we got it done.
Okay.
Um, it literally was a date. Like I knew her schedule. I knew, okay, Friday night she had, Bible study. Like we knew the schedule and we got it done. And it made me proud. She was a trucking company. It was my first
Okay.
time working with a trucking business. I learned all the lingo. I
Nice.
learned um I learned pretty much everything about a trucking business. I was nervous at first because I'm like, oh my gosh, trucking, there's so much logistics and I learned everything. I learned her accounts forward and backward. I pretty much became a part of the family.
Wow.
Um, and to date, she has referred, I want to say five or six
Wow.
companies to me. And of those five or six, three of them are other trucking companies.
Okay. Very nice.
But now I'm not afraid of the trucking company. I'm
Right,
like, bring it. Um,
right.
but I'm really proud because, like I said, 12 months of accounting, her books were a mess. She
Wow.
came in with QuickBooks already, but it
Okay.
was a mess.
Okay.
Um, we did like I had to start a brand new QuickBooks because it was easier to start a fresh set of QuickBooks than to try to um,
Clean it up.
clean up what she had.
Right.
And it made me proud because I took on a task that was an industry that was totally brand foreign to me. Um, we got it done. We cleaned it up. She was able to get all the funding she needed
Very nice.
for her business, from PPP to the the SBA loans. Got everything forgiven. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so and
Nice.
a whole nother state.
Yeah, very nice. No, that's good to hear. The power of working with someone like you in your business and the impact that it can have on the small business owner. It's crucial because at the end of the day, the larger corporations have, entire departments dedicated to keeping their books. And as small business owners, they're, kind of focused on keeping afloat. And although it's important sometimes, running a company and getting the task done takes precedent over keeping those financial documents in order. So I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, awesome, awesome. So you all heard that. You heard what Jennifer did. So she knows what she's doing. And that's why we had her on. We take pride in making sure we highlight our members, their expertise and their experience, because in the end, we want you to know that they're here to help you and they have the capability to do so. So thank you, Jennifer, for joining us tonight and sharing your quick,
Me.
yeah, no, anytime, your QuickBooks tips. Um, and we'll be sure to get you on again. But it was good to hear about your business, hear the passion in your voice that you have for what you do in your small businesses. We love that. And just another note before I let Jennifer go, because she's also a workaholic. I know this budget. Um, before I let her, she also just has a genuinely good heart, and just called me out of the blue before Thanksgiving one year, and just wanted to give back to her community, during that difficult time we all were going through. And obviously some families experienced a much more difficult time than others. And, Jennifer provided a whole Thanksgiving dinner in a bag, turkey and all, to needy families here in Broward County. So anyhow, I wanted to thank you publicly again for
Thank
doing that,
you.
because she wasn't asked. We didn't ask. This is something she just said, this is in my heart and I want to do. So she not only runs a wonderful business, extremely competent, but cares about her community. And so we're so happy to have you as a part of the chamber, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, love. So I'll let you go. I know you're busy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing this for me.
All right.
Everyone, this was a wonderful, wonderful session. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a type of programming that we love bringing to you because it's meaty, right? It's something that you can actually use. It's something that can actually make a difference in your business. And I hope you learned something new tonight. That's the whole point. And that something new should be, if you don't have QuickBooks, you should have some accounting system that is implemented in your business. I'm not being sponsored by QuickBooks. It just happens to be software that's widely used. But get a good, solid software to utilize in your business, so you will have your affairs in order and you'll have access to lines of credit, loans, grants. A lot of the grants that came out during the pandemic, whether it was state, county, or city, require you to have those financial statements in order. Even if it was a grant, even if it was a giveaway, they wanted to see some evidence of your business actually making money and being profitable prior to the pandemic. So make sure you have your affairs in order with an accounting software. And if you already have it, make sure you're utilizing all of the tools, all the bells and whistles that are incorporated in the system. You don't want to pay for something that you're not fully utilizing. And if you need help, Jennifer's your girl. But I do want to, before we go, I do want to talk about a few items, programs that we have coming up, and I'll flash those flyers before we end this evening. But besides this wonderful program that's steeped in education and making sure our members are well informed in running their business, we also have other programs to make sure that we're good stewards and good citizens in our community. And so next Monday, on July 25th, we actually have a candidate town hall coming up that will be from 6 to 8 at the historic Mount Hermon Amy Zion Church in Fort Lauderdale. We'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. for that candidate forum. We will cover 2 critical county commission races and 2 critical school board races. So we always preach at the chamber, as you know. Yes, we're business owners, we're residents here in the county, but we're also voters. And the chamber wants you to be an informed voter. These are the individuals on the county commission that make decisions on contracts that our small businesses go after. So you want to make sure these commissioners understand the importance of diversity and inclusion and ensuring that our small businesses have fair chance and opportunity at contracting. And don't sleep on the school board. They spend a significant amount of money, actually in the billions annually, on products and services. So you want to make sure, again, that people who are sitting on that school board are not only there ensuring our children get a wonderful and solid education, but they understand that supporting our local businesses, making sure they have an equitable and fair chance to contract with the school, our schools here in Broward County, that they're serving as well. We need people with not narrow minds, but broad minds that understand the impact that our small businesses have. We are the job creators. When those kids graduate from high schools here in Broward County, they're coming out to the workforce, and our small businesses are the ones that will employ them. So with that being said, we have that candidate forum or town hall on July 25th. We also have a kind of like a kickoff to National Black Business Month. We're having a cruise called the Summer Chill. It's the third part to our Summer Chill series on July 30th. It's a Saturday. Come set sail, network on the water, have a really great time. So we want to make sure that you come out. And lastly, we will be celebrating National Black Business Month with our Broward Black Expo on August 16th from 6 to 8. So I'll be flashing those flyers before we end today, just as a reminder for you to join us as we have a lot going on. Have a great night, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'll see you in the future.